Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back. This segment is literally a talk show, and what we're doing is getting our absolute subject matter experts to talk to us, Q&A, pulling it all together, and we're very, very fortunate. And this segment we're calling Vector's Voices. Vector will have a voice. This is part of its positioning, part of its brand, that they talk to some of the best people in the marketplace.
So I'm Anton Hobeika. I head MENA Research Partners. So we are active in research and consultancy. We do market, sector and financial research for our clients, being financials or non-financials. So if you take the long-term GCC potential, how big really is the opportunity for private sector here, and what is really the need in terms of smart capital for growth in the next years to come? Where we come from, the ground zero is we're coming from a let's say decade marked by a oil slump, where we went from $100 oil levels to around the 60s, and these 60s levels are here to stay for the next decade or so. If we take today GDP on the GCC level, we sit at around $1.5 trillion in terms of GDP, out of which only less than $1 trillion is from private sector. However, if we account for the next 10 years only for a 5% nominal growth, which is on the conservative side, accounting for around 2.5% in terms of real growth and 2.5% in terms of inflation. So having 5% nominal growth, this will add to the GDP at around $2.92 billion. If you couple it with a shift from public to private sector of only 10% in the region here, which is more on the conservative side, you're going to add up around $275 billion of GDP, which is based on economic growth and coupling it with long-term visions of increasing private sector role in the region here. We are talking about 570 billion of economic opportunity in the region. This transformation plan aims to unlock the sustainable growth in the region here. So what we have today is a shift from the short-term pain, which we have seen as marked economic slowdown in the region here, to what we call resetting economic fundamentals and unlocking the long-term gain of these economies. So we are not painting an opportunistic picture here, but what we are saying is an opportunity to consider MENA. If it's your global investor, consider MENA. MENA is not on the allocation heat map of global investors, but opportunistically, MENA needs to be considered and actively. So where we are today is we are transiting from an austerity period towards long-term sustainability. So where are we really in this shift? Well, what we see is definitely GCC is a turning point today. We see like 20 years worth of changes is happening now, to be compressed in a few years of transformation. We are definitely transiting from short-term headwinds towards long-term transformation, and growth is gradually forging, especially the GCC maintains a low risk framework as compared to other peer emerging markets. If you take since like 20 years now, if you compare non-oil growth to oil growth, you see that diversification has been happening in the region here. Okay, not very fast as needed, yes, but definitely growth has been happening. And if you compare during the last 20 years, and that's how long-term investors will look at it, if you compare oil to non-oil, yes, maybe we've been growing on a GDP level at 3, 4, 5%, but if you take out the oil from the equation, the non-oil have been growing at around 6.4%, which is extremely comparative to what we see in Asia. Today, yes, we're having so the question here, why are we growing today at 2, 3, 4% in terms of non-oil if this is the average? And we're going to answer this as we go. So to say that with the shift in economics, definitely there is a shift in mindset how to invest. Consider defensive sectors. These are the ones who can resist cycles, etc. And governments are promoting these sectors. Capital market-wise, we see that investment sentiment is enhancing. More stability is coming back to the market. Gains are not yet there, but definitely stability and volatilities are going down. From a risk perspective,